Hello there, my name is lunarlla. Welcome to a new and very special video on my channel.
What if I told you that this entire 30-something minute video could be easily debunked with just the very first point it makes? I am that serious. But let's humor them. It seems wrong to eat the main course before the appetizer after all.
Secondly, please keep in mind that a lot of this theory hinges on thinking from the perspective of actually living in the world of Breath of the Wild, specifically living as Link himself in the world of Breath of the Wild.
Lunarlla's video was very long, fairly convoluted, and contained a whole lot of redundant information. It relies, albeit most likely subconsciously, on shotgun argumentation and other logical fallacies to obfuscate flaws in reasoning or support claims which in reality are unfounded. More on that in just a bit. On top of that, author got some facts about the game outright wrong.
His monsters include multiple silver Lionels,
which really inspires confidence. But I admit that is a nitpick, so let's take a look at actual argumentation. A fallacy is an error of reasoning that will often make absolute nonsense seem perfectly logical. While argument being fallacious doesn't necessarily make a premise wrong, it can't be used to support that premise without further evidence. For instance, a Texas sharpshooter is applying a dataset or a pattern to a presumption, or in simpler terms, claiming that correlation between two things must mean that they are related. Lunarlla, can I have an example?
There's something odd about this shot. Hyrule Castle. See, when you first start the game, something is missing. The malice. It's strange to have the malice that should have been surrounding the castle for the last 100 years, and was shown to have appeared when Calamity Ganon awakened, not show itself until the specific action of activating the Sheikah technology is committed.
Awesome, thank you. There obviously is a correlation here, however that alone is not enough to prove causal link. Malice showing could be a result of any number of different factors, the most reasonable being that Zelda's power was growing weaker over the course of 100 years and has just expended some of it on contacting Link. Another one, false equivalence. Two things have similar characteristics and therefore are the same.
Also the fact that the body of Ganondorf and the monks appear in that decayed mummified form. This decayed mummified form is reserved solely for the monks and now Ganondorf.
The fact that both Ganondorf and monks are mummified doesn't make them related. And on top of that, this argument goes against the rules established prior. Referring to a mummified form as being reserved for anyone is an appeal to game design and therefore not allowed. Oh, I got one more. Special pleading. Ignoring facts inconvenient for the claim while highlighting ones supporting it. Do we have something?
Have you ever noticed that Guardians have a different palette depending on which side is controlling them? In Memories, shrines where Guardian Scouts are included, and in the trials during Champion's Ballad, the Guardians glow orange, an indication that they are currently free of corruption. Once they are corrupted, they glow Calamity Ganon's signature pink. Did you notice the color they glow inside these trials created by the monks to prepare Link for his fight with Ganon? They glow Calamity Ganon's signature hot pink.
Beautiful. Yes, Guardians in Final Trials glow pink, but Guardians in Middle Trials glow orange. I think that speaks for itself. Equally as fun as fallacies are the blatant self-contradictions. I especially love when contradictory sentence is said pretty much in the same breath as the claim. Like here.
The final boss of Champion's Ballad is literally a goddamn monk. A monk who eerily shares attacks and abilities with the Blights and Koga, by the way. You know, all the fucking villains in the game.
Yes, I do wonder why he shares attacks with Master Koga and the Blights. Do you have an answer for me?
Maybe it's cause they're all part of the Sheikah and wield Sheikah technology?
Yes, it's exactly that. You did my job for me, thank you. Or this one. This one is more spread out, so a little harder to catch. They were wondering how exactly shrines are helpful to Link in his quest and came up with some ideas for 3 out of 4 shrine types, namely tutorial, combat and blessing shrines. Some of these ideas are interesting to me.
The Great Plateau Shrines, obviously, for providing Link with the runes and training him in how to use them. Blessing Shrines for serving as a way to learn and understand the world around him, which I feel is important as it familiarizes him with the land he's intended to save.
I take it then that it is not important for shrine contents to be directly helpful in a fight with Ganon. It is fine if a shrine serves as a help in Link's travels. That interpretation is further reinforced by a statement made later about Master Sword trials.
And it is probably one of the most useful things the monks grant Link, as it lends immensely to teaching him crucial combat skills and other ways he can help himself in a pinch, like using elemental weapons to traverse through elemental areas.
Okay, so what was lunarlla's take on puzzle shrines again?
Outside of those specific shrine types, how do the others actually aid his training for Calamity Ganon? Especially when there are many elements within shrines that only appear within shrines. For example, the specific spikes you'll find in many shrines. They're exclusive to shrines. There are no spikes when he fights Calamity Ganon, at least none like that. Include things that are irrelevant to his fight with Calamity Ganon.
I wonder why they felt the need to specify they mean exact spikes found in shrines. See, if the argumentation was internally consistent, then it would naturally follow that puzzle shrines are helpful, because they further teach rune usage and versatility in it, as well as skills like quick thinking, reflexes, and hazard avoidance. By the way, that strong focus specifically on spikes makes me wonder.
Including my personal most hated shrine, Stop to Start, which entails Link having to traverse a barrage of puzzles where these spikes are present with one fucking hit point to his name.
Oh, I see. A pinch of personal bias to spice things up. These points are actually decent. Well, at least as long as you don't squint too hard.
Shrines are fucking death traps.
No, they aren't. Being a trap would imply that either A, Link cannot leave after entering, or B, Link is being tricked and caught off guard. Let's address A first. And listen, okay, this will be very hard and precise. It's a frame-perfect trick, super easy to miss, so watch very, very close. You got that? Wonderful. As for B, Link comes into shrines expecting to be tested in exchange for a spirit orb, which is exactly what he's getting. After plateau shrines, he should even be aware that many of these won't exactly be the safest things on the planet, so he must enter while being very much on guard.
The one-hit obliterator. It can kill anything in one single hit. Anything. So, you know, that probably, reasonably, would include Calamity Ganon, right? And yet, Link is not allowed to leave the Great Plateau with it.
Okay, look, the whole basis of lunarlla's argument is that monks don't do enough to help Link while knowing too much. However, throughout the entire duration of the video, one single extremely important question is never asked. What would be the best way for monks to ensure victory for Ganon? Get rid of Link. So let's flip this one. If monks are able to create a weapon more powerful than a literal Master Sword, why keep it on the plateau? Why not give it to Ganon so that he can one-shot Link when he eventually comes for him and be done with it? Let's flip the previous one. While inside of a shrine, Link is literally on the mercy of the monks. These spaces are deep underground, accessible through a single elevator. If that elevator was suddenly turned off after Link entered, he would have no way out. In lunarlla's own words,
if he was on the verge of dying in a shrine, nobody would go to save him. Nobody could.
unable to leave or dig himself out, Link would eventually die of thirst, hunger, or suffocation, whichever came first. What about teleporting out with the Sheikah Slate, you may ask? Well, we know that its ability to do that can be stopped quite easily, right? Oh, you would prefer something more immediate? Of course, my pleasure. how about releasing some deadly neurotoxin while Link is busy with something inside? That would do it, don't you think? Tell me, if monks really are evil, why do they never abuse the absurd amount of control they have over Link inside of a shrine? Wait.
The only rather curious part of it is the fact that Link awakens in such a weak state. After 100 years, you'd think far more strength would have been returned to him, no? Maybe not all of it, but more than he has. Seems to me that right away Link is being set at a disadvantage.
This is the very first point lunarlla makes. According to them, pretty unremarkable in the grand scheme of things. I disagree. Monks purposefully made it so that Shrine of Resurrection didn't return Link all of his strength? Lunarlla, riddle me this. If they have complete control over their technology, if Maskoshia is evil, the same Maskoshia, who, may I remind you, has been sitting right there, below Link, this entire time, then why would they even allow him to recover in the first place? There was literally no one guarding him, no one. If monks really wanted Calamity to win, they could have ended it all as soon as Zelda and Sheikah left the plateau for 100 years, but they didn't. Instead, they nursed him back to health from the brink of death. Have a good day. Thank you to everyone who made it this far. If you liked what you saw, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel for more Breath of the Wild content in the future. I wanted to make this for quite a while now, ever since I originally saw lunarlla's video. Not all points raised in the theory were covered. I didn't think they brought enough to the discussion to be worth directly responding to. If you're curious as to what they were and my thoughts on them, feel free to leave a comment. I'll be more than happy to elaborate. If you want to check out lunarlla's video, there is a link to it in the description below. Bye!